We have rumors both from a user on Weibo named Instant Digital and Mark Gurman himself indicating that after years of dead silence, the Apple Pencil will be getting its third version in the next several weeks, possibly this month. So that is something to keep an eye out for, as the newer iPads will also be releasing soon hereafter. So they might release at the same time. But yeah, there was just a quick one right there. We've heard a lot of different rumors about like USB-C pencil, like a black pencil and all that kind of stuff. We won't obviously go into all that, but to be possibly getting a new Apple Pencil this month or in the next couple of months is going to be really nice.
Yeah, because they just had that budget pencil that does use USB-C, so it's kind of cool that they're actually going to bring out I guess it's going to be the next full generation of it. Yeah, we did have a lot of rumors on what that could look like, and I think that's still in the works just because obviously the USB-C model wasn't anything amazing. It was just more of a cheaper version. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is good news, and yeah, we are expecting those iPads here fairly soon. I believe that's still going to continue with the way, which we'll get to later on, with the way the MacBooks were released, which there shouldn't be any event for, at least from what we've heard. But in either case, back in 2020, T-Mobile followed through with their acquisition of Sprint, and part of the deal included some stipulations from the FCC. One of which is that it would sell some of its 800 megahertz spectrum to Dish as a way to allow a smaller player to gain some traction and also keep T-Mobile under control. And it kind of made sense just because Dish had their Boost Mobile service, or has their Boost Mobile service,
right.
and that uses T-Mobile's towers. So it kind of worked together. The spectrum was to be available until June of last year and was priced at $3.59 billion. Oof. Dish has declared that they did not have the finances to buy the spectrum at that time and tossed T-Mobile $1 million as sort of a down payment, I guess you could say, in return that the closing date be extended to April 1st of this year. Now it's reached a point where Dish isn't only unable to purchase that designated amount of spectrum by, coincidentally, April Fool's Day, again due to finances. Why would you do that? But I don't know. But that they're also approaching a level in the company where bankruptcy is looking more and more likely. Come November, they have a sizable amount of debt that's due that could wreak havoc on the company and potentially spell certain doom. So it's kind of scary just because they've been around for a while, and I wasn't sure I'd ever actually see them file for bankruptcy, but it looks like that could very well, come to fruition. So I don't know.
Imagine that, April 1st. Why would it, I don't understand how does that even, how do you say, like, yes, we would like to extend this date upon the date that jokes are made. But that's weird. I kind of remember Dish from my childhood. I think we actually had Dish for a little while, didn't we? Our dad
did have Dish, yeah.
Our dad
we had that when we moved out of New York. Yeah, we had Dish, and I actually preferred, believe it or not, I actually preferred Dish over DirecTV. But
really?
That's just me.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And that was back when DirecTV had Sunday Ticket, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it looks as though Motorola is putting its hand in the pot and will be releasing their very first ever AI-powered phone this year. Releasing in China first, the Moto X50 Ultra will pack a 4,500 megawatt. Whoa, that's a big battery.
That's a huge battery.
That's a massive battery. Sorry, 4,500 milliamp hour battery, along with 123 watt wired charging and 50 watt wireless charging. A lot of the AI features will most likely consist of many things we've already seen, like the aforementioned S24 or Pixel 8 Pro.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how Motorola adds anything or, kind of changes certain elements that other companies have done.
Their own.
Yeah. So this is quite interesting to see. The only one that's left, I think, is Apple. They're the last company that really hasn't done any AI stuff or is not released it yet. We're going to wait till iOS 18, the major, massive, crazy, like, be-all, end-all update here. But yeah, I don't know what you think of this Motorola phone. To me, it's interesting. I'm not, like, super excited about it, but, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really just something where I've kind of given up on hope for Motorola outside of foldables.
Oh, really?
Just because, yeah, I just don't feel like they have it. I think it's the Razor that really got them back into at least into kind of my world of technology and testing things out. I feel like that's where I was like, okay, now I'm kind of impressed on what they're doing. I think they can evolve from this. But maybe this can actually be a kind of reintroduction of their brand and maybe evolving and making it better than it is right now. So it's tough to say. I'm not actually going to give any full opinions on it now, just because it's yet to be announced.
It's hard to tell. Yep.
It is hard to tell for sure. But yeah, you had some more news on Microsoft.
Yeah, so they're ending their support for Android on Windows 11. Actually, they're ending it today while we're recording this. And basically, this means that all apps and games March 5th. All apps and games utilized in correspondence with Amazon Store will not be able to be downloaded, and users that still have those apps will have 1 year from now to continue using them and or talk to a specialist for aid if need be. Now, Microsoft has not given any reason as to why they're doing this. However, many suspect that it's probably due to a lack of popularity or interest. Pretty much was the exact same reason we had for Publisher being eradicated in 2016 or 2026, excuse me. So yeah, not many people are utilizing it, not many people are interested, so it just is a drop in the bucket of faded away dreams.
If I remember correctly, that was back in 2021 or maybe it's 2020 that they kind of announced they were going to pull in Android apps and stuff like that. So I feel like they gave it a decent amount of time. I mean, after a few years, you should know whether or not it's going to gain some traction.
Yes.
So, unfortunate, but
yeah, I think it's
warranted.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird to consider Microsoft, like Windows specifically, and Android kind of melding together. I feel like they're two separate entities, and it's weird to kind of have them in the same room, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they even make kind of going back to last week's episode, kind of going back to the emulators, because I believe they still have BlueStacks, if that's still running. That does like the Android apps and stuff like that. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for Microsoft to do. I think it's fine for them. But I suppose if you were one that, me neither. So, but moving on to deals here, we have the AirPods Max are down $70 to $480. So.
The Sony WH-1000 XM4s are down from $348 to $248, so you're getting a 29% discount right over on Amazon.
Let me just clarify that when Riley and I do deals, we don't actually talk to each other about it. We just look and see what would be actually appealing to the consumer or you.
Exactly.
So the fact that the last episode was both the Surface and this episode is both headphones, completely unintended. So, but hey, there's some competition for you guys.
Exactly. You gotta choose which one. Remember, last episode you chose the 9. This episode you can choose JD's. That's fine. Apple has changed their trading values for the following devices, and this is actually a result of the M3 Air, which we'll get to here soon. The MacBook Pro, I'll just go through a few of these. There's quite a lot, but there's hardly any changes. The MacBook Pro, the MacBook, and the Mac Mini all see a $10 increase in its trade-in value. The MacBook Air, the iMac, and the iMac Pro see no change at all. And the Mac Studio and Mac Pro, those actually do see quite a big one. For the Studio, it's going from $1,070 to $1,315. And for the Mac Pro, it's going from $900 down to $800. Which is not that great. Most of these pretty much have no change at all, like I said, or at least getting some more value on the Studio and then quite a lot less on the Mac Pro. So, but regardless, there's some changes for you if you were thinking of trading in for the Mac Air.
I know, $10 more. Woohoo!
I know, it's brilliant. Just like the $5 you'd be getting from AT&T. It's lovely.
That's right. Which people are probably still seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but with that, we'll actually talk about the real quick about the latest addition to Apple's lineup of MacBooks. So the MacBook Air actually does get the M3 chipset. Really not a whole lot to talk about this one, other than they did mention, which is kind of funny, if you guys care about the chassis, they talked about how it was re-anodized metal that would reduce the fingerprints. So I'm kind of hoping that does come to fruition. As far as the performance and everything, it's nearly the same as the MacBook Pros, aside from the fact that they have more performance based on the ventilation and everything like that. So it wasn't really anything that impressed me. We kind of expected it coming, so I'm not sure if you had any input on it, but for me, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think they added multi-display support on that, didn't they?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I did remember seeing something like that, which
Yeah.
I suppose is if you're doing a lot of media content.
If you are, yeah.
I suppose
it's not a major.
if you want to get the Air for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's smaller, more compact, and lightweight. And
Right,
getting
lightweight,
that M3 and multi. I mean, but then the thing is, like, if you have a lightweight device, what's the point in doing multi-display? I guess is my question. There might be some people that might benefit from that, but
Office portability, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
I probably, you know what, a good one would be photography, because I feel like people would take the Mac on the go and stuff like that, importing and stuff like that, and then they'd bring it back to the desk and plug it into the display. So I can see how that would be beneficial if you didn't want to go with the Pros. And I feel like their chipsets are quite impressive. Both with battery and performance,
Yeah.
so probably couldn't
Totally
do
agree
wrong
with
with it. Yeah,
No,
I guess I'm just more waiting for the iPads and such. So
pretty much.
that's just me.
Yeah,
though.
I don't really
Yeah.
have a whole lot to say about this one other than the multi-display port thing, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's just another one to add there.
that's
Better
the bucket.
and a better Air, another one. I mean, I don't know if it's bad that I'm actually not really happy about this or not sad. I'm just kind of like, cool.
I'm we're in the same boat here. I'm not really. I'm more indifferent about the entire aspect of it. But
I don't hate it, but I also not like thrilled either. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But sticking actually with Apple, 5 years after Spotify submitted a complaint against Apple and its App Store policies, the EU has finally followed through with a $2 billion fine. Now, to many of us, this is like a huge sum. But considering that Apple brought down about $120 billion in its recent quarterly sales, this is more like a slap on the wrist. The issue concerning this is that the App Store policy prohibits developers, such as Spotify, from informing users about cheaper subscriptions that are offered outside of the App Store platform. And now, with more restrictions evolving with the Digital Markets Act and antitrust laws, it's allowing consumers to have better options when considering what path to take when subscribing to various plans. Now, obviously, much of this continues to be centered around those in the EU. So as far as how things proceed here in the States, that remains to be seen. So we'll keep an eye on how that unfolds in the future.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the right step to take on Apple's part.
I concur. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to be put in their place sometimes, And so, I mean, the thing was like, not only that, but what was it? They had to make Epic pay them, what was it, $70 billion for that court
don't
case
even remember
recently?
Yes, something along
So
those lines.
I mean, it's just like you win some, you lose some. But to Apple, it's mere, what is it? Ralph Cramden says mere bag of shells.
Mere
on
bag
the
of shells,
honeymooners.
yeah. We'll see more about Apple later at the end of the episode. But yeah, this is
I'm
just
sure,
one step
yeah,
in that
no.
direction.
But that's you reap what you sow, man. Moving right along here to the Nothing 2A, and really there's not a whole lot to talk about here. As the name implies, it's just a more nerfed version of its predecessor and basically functions almost the exact same way with the Glyph. This does pack a 5,000 milliamp hour battery with 12 gigs of RAM and the camera being 50 megapixels on the back. The Glyph system, by the way, is less impressive, obviously, being a lesser version of the 2. It carries with it 4 years of Android updates and security updates, along with starting out at Android 14, so that's pretty good. It does come out at 319 pounds, or what would be 400 USD.
Decently priced.
Yeah, which all things considered, it is a really solid price for a low-tier phone, in my opinion. I really don't have a whole lot against it. And in fact, I would personally say that because it has a lot of functionality and pretty solid specs at such a low cost, I think that makes this phone even better, in my opinion. Not better than the 2, but just better like in value on its own. So in
more
terms
appealing,
of
yeah.
more appealing, yeah. So in terms of rating, I would give this a solid 7. I don't think it's not like an amazing phone for nothing. I'm just talking about for nothing itself as a rating, not in terms of other phones, because obviously there are phones that are way better than this one, but even at this low market tier. But yeah, I think for a lower price and what you're getting, I think it's pretty good. So
yeah, I did see some information on that as well as some of the reviews, and obviously we knew that at that price point the cameras weren't going to be stellar, but
yeah.
I feel like they're good enough just to capture moments, and you're not going to find anything, super impressive about it. Although I will say that maybe it's just me, I felt like the back of that phone looked a little funky.
Yeah, it actually did.
It's just the way they had the cameras laid in there, and then they had the glyphs around. It looked like something was looking back at me. Wasn't really a fan of it, so it was just kind of wonky. I don't think that's going to impact how well it sells, aside from the fact that it doesn't come to the States. That was my take on it as far as from the design standpoint. So,
yeah, did you see Mr. Who's the Boss's review on it?
I didn't get a chance to watch his. No.
He said that one of his friends said that it looked like googly eyes with intestines. And actually,
I can get the first part. I was surprised by the second. Yeah, I can now understand all of that together.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The back is a little weird. The thing I loved about the Nothing 2 and the 1 was the way the glyph was presented in a very orderly manner, and it was almost like futuristic tech. This one is just, it feels like a knockoff version on the back. On the front, it looks fine. On the back, it feels like a knockoff version of the Nothing 2, which is, I don't think was the intention. And obviously it has lesser, materials on it. There's no like aluminum or any different higher costing materials on it.
It had plastic backing and everything.
Had plastic backing, so yeah, it was a little weird. I would agree with you on the back. But
yeah, I don't think you can really discount it that much to being, a horrible model. But I feel like, I agree with you, especially about the 2. I feel like the 2 was really well done. Mm-hmm. The good thing about the 2A is the fact that you get a lot of the same features as far as a software standpoint that you get on the 2. So that's a plus. They didn't really jilt you on all that. So I think Nothing OS is continuing to improve, at least from Carl Pei's development and how he's kind of leading up that company. So I just hope the 3A comes to the States so we can actually get, more hands on it. And it kind of threw me for a loop, to be honest with you, because I don't know why they did a zigzag or a double back, if you will, with the 1 not coming to the States and the 2 where it's available, and now they're going back to the 2A not being available here. Not really sure what the deal is.
It's weird.
Because now that we're seeing the specs, it wasn't like it was that awful. I guess maybe Carl just felt like it wouldn't be enough to, justify bringing it here. So we'll kind of see how that evolves, and I'm hoping the next gen, like I said, will come here. So
yeah, I'm still waiting for Nothing Beer.
We haven't put our order in, have we?
Nope. No, but we will eventually. Moving right along here, we mentioned last week how Apple was being very stingy with issues regarding sudden cracks on the Vision Pro, and how they really didn't do anything worthwhile to really help their customers, aside from making them charging $400 for a replacement. Well, now Samsung is put in pretty much the exact same place. Some S24 users are now finding that after booting up their device or watching YouTube, they get this weird vertical green line and horizontal white line, and I'll actually pull up the image right here. Many have asked Samsung Care to help with this, and while Samsung on their part has admitted to it actually being a defect, they have told users that they need to send the phone back and buy a new one, which would in turn forfeit their pre-order discount. Samsung has also put the blame on service carriers such as T-Mobile or Verizon, but of those carriers, they denied any problems and said that it was an issue of the manufacturer and that they have nothing to do with it, and that they also will not take the phone back either. So this is not as bad as the Glassgate we mentioned last week, because Samsung actually did admit it was basically their fault for this kind of issue, but they still would not really aid with regards to actually just giving users a brand new phone instead of them losing money on an issue that seems to be happening across the board fairly frequently. I mean, I'll give some of my thoughts because I've been talking a good bit here, but I did want to hear what you think about all this.
I'm kind of dumbfounded right now. Here's one thing. We're talking about, okay, you said there's a pre-order discount?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So it didn't affect any of the trade-ins then, I'm guessing. It's just a pre-order.
Well, I assume it affected... It seems to be happening across the board on some of these devices because a lot of users are coming out saying, I don't know if it was just the pre-orders. I assume most people did pre-orders, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Samsung is known for really big trading discounts. Pre-order discounts, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to do pre-orders on them, so I don't know how bad that was or how big of an impact that is. The reaction, though, by them is a little bit concerning, just because why would you make that whole experience worse when you're already admitting it's your fault, from what I'm understanding?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially for those who maybe even are switching from Google or Apple for the first time and they're using Samsung. And that's how they, get treated when it's an issue that's not their own fault. And I certainly wouldn't expect the carriers to be at fault either, because it's just branded phones. So that is, I mean, unless it was specifically with just one carrier, then you could probably say, okay, this has nothing to do with Verizon or anything like that. It's T-Mobile or AT&T. But I find that really odd.
Well, the thing about it is Samsung was arguing, well, you bought it through us, but through a carrier. But it's like, no, a person bought it through your company and added them a bill cycle through a carrier. They still bought it through your company.
Reactivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Samsung could have made the argument, because there was one user that complained because they bought it directly from Verizon. Samsung can make the argument, well, you bought it from Verizon, that's on the carrier. But if we're seeing this issue directly from the manufacturer itself being bought from there, and you're seeing it frequently on both ends, this is definitely a manufacturing issue, period. And like I said, Samsung admitted to that, which is good, but they still didn't fall through fully. I mean, Samsung Care is pretty much the exact same thing as Apple Care, I assume. You're paying a subscription on the whole, you're kind of gambling in the fact that you're going to maybe break your phone or something's going to happen to it, so that way you can go ahead and get a new one sent to you. That's how this whole thing is supposed to work. But I feel like these companies, they do that, and then when something happens like this, if there's not enough quote-unquote evidence to suggest that it's a major, imminent thing that may happen to all devices, then they're really not going to care too much. And like I said, I will give Samsung props to admitting their mistake, but they still didn't follow through all the way. Apple didn't even do anything. They just said, hey, you know what? You have to pay for it, period. We don't even give a crap. But
yeah. No, I agree on that part. Well, it's kind of funny because, not to belabor this topic, but I find it interesting. Was it specified whether it was carrier models or was it unlocked as well?
Well, that's the thing, is people, when they bought it through Samsung, it seems to me they did get it as a bill cycle through a carrier. So I'm not sure.
Because, I mean, they offer it as unlocked, so that's why I asked.
They do.
I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, I might have to do a follow-up episode where I do a bit more research to see if this issue has fallen on all sides of the spectrum. If it's just through carriers, if it's carrier-based, that's weird, though, because how in the world, how would that even affect you having a carrier? Because if it was just one carrier, like you said, that would make sense, but it's happening with Verizon and T-Mobile users.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little weird.
It's a quandary.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. So, well, I certainly hope we do have more to follow up on that, because I do find that interesting. I have yet to see more information on the Vision Pro, by the way, so we will keep you posted if we do see more, or at least a response from Apple. That is another frustrating situation that's going on, although I'm going to bring this up, and I typically don't like to. That's not really offense to him. It's just not really how things unfold. Did you get a chance to see John Prosser's review of the Vision Pro?
I had not, no.
I would encourage you, as well as the viewers, to take a look at that review. That was a non-John Prosser review. And if you know anything about him, that would almost be considered a compliment. He took it at a totally different angle, very professional. He was sitting there with jeans and a black shirt, hoodie, very Steve Jobs vibes. I just thought he did a good job. He went into it from a technical standpoint, but he also kind of looked at it from just first generation user experience, and I thought it was very well done. Doesn't discount the fact that model still seems to have crack issues, but
it's on
still.
Crack. Yeah.
Anyway. If the $2 billion fine wasn't enough to cite Apple as a tech mongrel, unfairly playing the competitive field, they're the target of yet another accusation concerning antitrust policy practices. This time it pertains to iCloud.
Yes.
Since 2011, when co-founder Steve Jobs introduced iCloud, the free option of storage was 5 gigabytes. Mm-hmm. Here we are, over 11 years later, when media and format sizes have grown, that free storage tier has not changed at all. The other side to this issue is that Apple has made it so that if users would like to have a full device backup performed on their iPhones, the only option permitted by Apple is their own product of iCloud. Now, obviously, users are free to entertain other means to back up their videos, photos, and other accessible files, but as far as restricted files, like device settings, Wi-Fi connections, and passwords, app data, there is no option. Mm-hmm. So when you return to the fact that you only have 5 free gigs of storage, most users are compelled to pay for iCloud subscription plans that match their storage needs. And Apple is the one that reaps all the benefits. Because of how this all intertwines and how it corrals customers to run to Apple, a class action lawsuit has been filed against the company concerning the matter. So this does not surprise me.
No.
I'm just kind of surprised it took this long to evolve. Because this has been in the works for years upon years. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It actually, not until you said the beginning of your topic, it never even occurred to me that it's been 5 gigs this whole time, and storage has been upgraded so frequently to the point where Apple's newest phone can go up to 1 terabyte of storage. And even that puts like another $100 or $200 increase on the phone itself. So for a company to still maintain a 5 gig iCloud, honestly, I never thought about it. That is beyond me. I don't know how you can sit there and charge continuously so much money to, because people use up a lot of storage. And yes, they do have a lot of other apps and a lot of other settings that they, accumulate over the years. And so, I never even thought about that. That is really dumb. I'm glad that
they've also cited the fact that the iCloud service is pretty much a pure profit service.
Oh yeah,
like there's no debt whatsoever or anything that they're lacking in. So, which there's no surprise there, just because if you're offering 5 gigs, which is next to nothing nowadays. Why wouldn't you? Which it kind of made me think. I'm like, gee, maybe I should reconsider how I'm actually backing up my information. Maybe I'll just use all my photos and videos and back them up to a different service and then just save the app data and actually see if that takes effect and if it's only 5 gigs.
I bet you it's not. Apple's probably made it some way, somehow, not to be able to do that. They probably already
I mean,
thought
it
of
wouldn't
that
surprise
years
me if that would be the case, but I mean, it's something worth investigating just to see
That's
how
true.
bad it is
Yeah.
over, the past decade or so. But yeah,
Yeah, that's. We could probably really, really harp on this one for a while, but I mean, all in all,
We could.
It's just ridiculous, is what it is. It's stupid. I mean,
I'm hoping it comes to more than just a $2 billion fine, because I feel like this is
way more.
extremely concerning, because that's the epitome of anti-competitive practices right there. Pretty much just forcing people to go directly to your product just because they bought an iPhone. So, but in the case, that will close up this week's episode. This is JD and Riley, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace out.